Hello, everybody. You are listening to, well, the Disc Golf Show, right? You're listening, you're watching. You know. You clicked on it. You know what you're listening and watching into. That's a word. I just made it up. Today is April 22nd, 2025. This is the 2025 season. April 22nd all day today. So that's a good thing. It's not going to change. My name is Justin. With me today is that guy.
Nick, that's me.
Yeah, that's you. That's you. All day.
Somewhere around
that
here.
will not change as well. So, this episode is brought to you in part by Final Nine Sports with their 2 locations, one in Orangevale, one in Rocklin. So, support local. That's the bottom line. But we understand here at the Disc Golf Show that sometimes that's not possible. So if you have to go outside of your local pro shop and you can't support them because they don't have something you need and they can't get in stock when you need it, we have a solution for you with our other sponsor for this episode, and that is discgolfdealsusa.com/discgolfshow. You'll save 10% off of your entire purchase. There's a couple of exceptions, we know, but for the most part, 10% off. That's a pretty good deal. Check them out. discgolfdealsusa.com/discgolfshow. We'll have links down below with all the affiliate stuff if you just want to click there. We make it easy for you. With that said, Nick, let's jump into it. Shall we? News. It is news.
And hey, just before we get into it here, though, just know that 10% adds up, especially if you're looking for like a new cart, a new bag, a basket. That can save you a good chunk of money.
Buy 5 or 10 discs.
Yeah, you save some money.
That'll save you a good chunk. So, ask me how I know.
I'm guessing you've probably used it.
I did. I definitely. Why would I not?
So a really cool thing, which I think is going to be, I think it's product-wise, it's probably one of the, what we'll see moving forward with pros, is there's been a couple announcements for attire, for disc golf attire from some of your favorite pros. One of them is Kristen Latt. So we mentioned that she was working on a deal with iCourt. Well, her line of clothes is out now. So Go check that out. Yeah, go check that out. Really well designed gear for women and men. She does have their lines. They are bringing out men's versions. And then also, in addition to that, through another company, and not just this guy, but Paul McBeth announced a line of clothing with First Form. And not only Paul McBeth, I did see, I believe, maybe Hammis. AB Barela has some clothing with them. So First Form looks like they're diving into disc golf and supporting us with quality attire. So go check those out. If you are fans of them, you'll, I'm sure, start to see more of the top players probably using them for their clothing. So support your favorite pro.
I like seeing that kind of stuff too, because disc golf, we focus on the gear and equipment. See what I did there? Outside of like what you're wearing to the course. Like I remember when we first got in contact with Dude, and that was like the first time I had gotten my hands on something that was like quality, right? And playing in something that was like specifically designed for the activity of disc golf. And it wasn't just some t-shirt with a stamp on it, which is cool. I like those too. But when clothing is formed specifically around a particular sport, it doesn't even really matter what it is. It's just that much better, right? The thought process behind it. So I like seeing these type of things too. Like I like the whole just getting stamp on something. That's great too. But seeing something that's designed for the purpose of the sport specifically, and of course branding, is even better. So in my opinion,
definitely the like you said, your t-shirts with like a name or something, or a brand, whatever. Those are great.
Those are cool.
Everyday wear. But then you want to have that step up. Definitely, you want to have those options, because you know you want to invest in quality gear that'll last longer. Yeah, you can get a t-shirt, but is it going to last long? But yeah,
Right.
it's good to have those tiers for, depending on the person who can afford whatever they can afford. And so I look forward to seeing what First Form and iCourt do moving forward. Obviously, iCourt is overseas, is a foreign company. But First Form is, well, everything nowadays actually is global, right? I mean, we're global. So everything else is global, right?
But you want to know one of the advantages of the disc golf show and being global? No tariffs. Moving on, Paul McBeth Foundation newest project out, 5.1. It's going to be in Krakow, Poland, with the Polish Airmen Park, I think is where it's going to be, which is really cool. I really like Paul McBeth Foundation and all of the projects that they're doing. This will be a 9-hole layout. I'm sure you can find way more information on their website, and I'm assuming videos to come probably is the usual. So they're expecting the installation of this particular disc golf course in late May, which is right around the corner. That's
right
cool.
around the corner.
Awesome.
And go check out their YouTube, Paul McBeth Foundation YouTube channel, because they always have good videos up there. You can support them as well.
Absolutely.
Hey, talking about companies coming into disc golf. The most recent big announcement, which was I think a couple days ago, is for and again, it's Worlds. Worlds this year is overseas, so they've already, I think, exceeded the investments from businesses and how much funds they're raising. But one of the most recent one is Haribo. So most people, I'm guessing, favorite gummy bear brand, right?
Yeah.
Gummies.
Yep.
They are a main partner for the PDGA Worlds 2025 event. So, we are getting one at a time, guys. These bigger companies are starting to notice that there's investment possibility, and as long as we can fulfill their requirements, I think we're good.
Right.
Incremental.
Also, a little side note, or as one of my friends likes to reference it, side quest. We're going to derail from the main quest here line of what we're saying. If you're in for some good entertainment, and I hope it's still up, because it's honestly, and maybe it's just me, but I found it entertaining as hell. Go on Amazon, right? Look up the customer reviews for Haribo sugar-free gummy bears. You're welcome if it's still there. Hilarious.
Really?
Hilarious.
Okay.
You're welcome. I've spent way too long almost crying laughing at some of the reviews.
Well, I'm not the biggest, good. My wife does that. She'll see a video or a short, and she'll look at the comments. I fear that I will lose a lot of hours doing that, so I haven't gone that route. I usually just watch the video and move on. That sounds like it's right up that alley. It
is. Do it, though.
It's a rabbit hole.
I recommend it.
Right?
It's a very uncomfortable, stinky rabbit hole. But yes, it is. I highly recommend it. I hope it's still there.
Big shout out to Haribo for coming into disc golf this major this year.
Also, I'll put out there too, at least for me, one of the most difficult brand names to say. But I know exactly what it is, no matter how you say it.
I always feel bad because I joke that it sounds like horrible.
Well, I mean,
these are Haribo gummies,
Right.
I don't want to get canceled here. I'm just saying.
the little Coke bottle ones, like the wax candy. Ugh. It's like the only ones that have been like. Ugh.
Well, they're also
not my favorite.
Have you had those? And I don't know if Haribo has
like
these,
the gummies.
The
are fine,
little blue sharks, the blue and white shark gummies.
Yes, yeah.
Had one of those recently.
Mm-hmm.
Not bad. So.
All right. My favorite ones when I was eating them are the twin snakes. Because one would be like sweet and the other's sour.
Oh.
And I like sour gummies.
Okay.
But they like the best mix of them. They would come in like a Haribo like All Stars gummy pack. So it'd have like twin snakes in there and the peach rings and the little double cherries and it's got like all your favorites in there.
Okay.
So really that was my poison. But
did you have a favorite color gummy bear?
Oh yeah. I liked either the red or the green. And the rest of them,
I like
equal
the
opportunities,
clear, the like white
the
ones.
clear ones. All right.
Because I think those were pineapple or something like that. I want to say
Oh,
they were like
yeah.
something. Maybe it was the yellow ones. I don't know.
Mhm.
I tend to lean that way. But
Yeah. Well, I mean, towards the end of that bag, it turns into flavor because you're just
that's true.
like I'm not separating them out,
Yeah.
unless we're doing some kind of morbid little like, oh, don't eat me, like, my arm, Anyways,
I think this is what should happen with disc golfers. I think you go buy a bag,
yes,
take a picture of yourself with said bag,
mm-hmm.
and make a post on there saying 2025 PDGA Worlds disc golf, tag us,
mm-hmm.
and then the funniest one, maybe you'll win something.
Oh, that'd be cool. We'll do
I think
a little contest giveaway. Yeah, sure.
And tag Haribo, because that way it shows them that people noticing it, and they're
right.
I'm just throwing that out there, guys. Just throwing that out.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. That'd be fun. That'd be fun.
All right. Tag disc golf, hashtag disc golf show. Add us. I don't know if that's a thing. I guess I don't know.
Maybe
tag Haribo.
Maybe. In other news, outside of gummy bears and Haribo, Go Throw has a new event at Eagles Crossing. It debuts finally a nubless basket. Finally.
Hey,
that was on the show notes.
Hey,
it was in bold capital letters.
Yes.
Finally.
You're welcome.
Just so you know.
You're welcome.
Just so you know. That really bothers you, doesn't it?
We've talked about this.
Oh, I know.
For years.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, way back.
Mm-hmm.
And now they come out with this event that recently played, the Go Throw event at Eagles Crossing, which Eagles Crossing is that massively multi-million-dollar course that the gentleman put together and is creating, and he's trying to. From what I understand, he wants to put a restaurant there. He wants to put a hotel there, so that way it's a destination. You don't have to stay. I think the closest town was 30 minutes away.
Plans.
Yeah.
Which I'm all for.
And it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's from all the pros that have played there, and after this event as well. Like it's top course. Like, not only with that, they did debut these nubless baskets, and so they're I believe gateway baskets, and they are very well finished. The chain setup also is, I think it's denser or thicker chains the closer you get to the pole. That way you have less likelihood of kick out from hitting the pole.
Right.
And I believe the way that the chains are hooked on the rings up top are altered. It's different. So there's like 2 or 3 or 4 sets, and 2 are. It's interesting. So what they're trying to mitigate is any kick out, any splash outs.
Right.
So it's I think it's more consistent from what the pros were saying. They could slam it in there or glide it in or whatever, and it catches really well. And then as for the basket, without the nubs, you have interesting. You can't get lucky and catch on a nub and the disc be pulled back into the basket. So it could slide and skip off the edge of the basket and have for some interesting results or rolls or kickouts off the basket edge. So
it really kind of sets up, for gameplay. I mean, there's a time and a place to, throw it and have it slide in, and then there's a time and a place to really jam it in there.
Yeah.
I think they made a song about that, but it sets up for a dynamic,
Yeah. But the other thing, I don't know if you saw any pictures or any coverage of it. Pro Tour has tried to up the classiness, right? The professionalism of their commentators and stuff like that.
Yes.
So at this event, and not only was it, I think, connected to that, but also we know the green jacket at Masters, right? Golf, right?
Yes.
Well, the hosts of this event, the commentators, wore very bright red jackets.
It's a power color.
Yeah, I see kind of what they were going towards the professionalism of wearing a sport coat.
Yeah.
I don't think they were tailored well. I don't think they were tailored at all. But they're trying to move that way.
We're getting there.
I
Baby
like
steps.
I like the effort.
Mm-hmm.
Outcome, it can still be worked on, but obviously there are always steps moving forward to better everything. So I think
Absolutely.
with this location and this event, though, and this property, I think it could definitely lean that way towards Masters.
For sure. Absolutely.
Yeah, so I think maybe they're on. I think they're on the right track. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I think the one drawback that people did mention was that there was no FPO division, which I don't know. I mean, this leads into another conversation that we're going to have later, I think. But we can discuss that more. And a big shout out to the person who came out on top. Who was that?
Huh?
Who won this Eagles Crossing event?
Anthony Barela.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right. He's on my team.
Yep.
Not that it affected because
that's
these events
that's why the glum face. I love Anthony Barela. I wanted him on my team, but somebody sniped him.
Yeah,
from my team.
It's not on our skip ace, so it doesn't matter ultimately.
True.
But it's good to know. It's a confidence builder.
It's
it's
just one more thing for you to use to gloat with.
Yeah.
And
then after that event was just this last weekend, we had the Kansas City Wide Open. So this was I believe it was a silver event last year, or Q Series, whatever that tier was. In past years, they've had it as silver. Now it made the actual Pro Tour, Elite Series, or whatever you want to call it, the main.
Like, out of, there's been a ton of tournaments that have left, but out of a big group of them, this is definitely one of them that I kind of wanted to see come back. Like, I enjoy watching the Wide Open, the Kansas City Wide Open. Like, it's good. It's a good series.
It was cool. It was nice. It's more of an open course for sure.
Yep.
So you get to see those big bombs, but
and all the money that it brings in to that town too.
Yeah.
Because I remember, God, we might have talked about this a long time ago, but the stability of the economy in that area, they really looked forward to this tournament happening because of just all the flood of business that comes in. So just in that respect, I'm glad that it's kind of back on this, bigger scale again. I like it.
Yeah, and I think I think the towns that the tour hits, that's becoming more and more of a noticeable thing for those towns. Yeah. Is the
huge influx of people.
Yeah, exactly. So, I hope to see this more in the future. And I know that they're tweaking this course here and there as well over the past years. But that it'll mature. It'll mature as it grows.
For sure.
But yeah, did you catch any of the match play? So this was our last 2 weeks ago. They were supposed to have it at Music City Open, but weather prohibited that.
Right.
So they did the first series of match play on Thursday. Prior to the Kansas City Wide Open, they held the match play event. And, I mean, there was a battle between Ricky and Paul. Ricky ended up coming out on top there. There was the other three cards that they had. I mean, it was fun because it's a different style, but it was definitely noticeably they were taking it more serious this time than in past years. So it's not just a fun and games thing. It's actually like turning into a more serious thing for the players.
Cool. All right.
But it's a good tester at some of these courses too, because obviously these match plays aren't going to be held at the same location every single time. So I think that's a good aspect of it, where they switch it up throughout the seasons, hopefully. But yeah, it's a good tester for these guys. And I think for them too, it's an extra practice round for them, pretty much. You know what I mean? They can push some lines that maybe they wouldn't normally throw in the actual event to see if it's possible, depending on how much of a lead they may have in that match play matchup. But yeah, I I thought the match play was cool, and I hope to see more of them moving forward in the season or in the upcoming years. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Did you see the commentary team at this event?
Yeah, or at the match play?
No, for the Kansas City Wide Open.
Kansas City Wide Open? Yes, yeah.
Big fan.
Okay.
Big fan.
All right. I'm guessing you're liking Dixon as a commentator?
Yes. He's an amazing on-field, on-course commentator. Presents well, knows what he's talking about, knows the details, knows the technicality. I'm a big fan of him when it comes to this. Very respectful, very engaging. So he has a good player outlook, but he also has a great just overall spectator outlook as well. So I think he was very well rounded, and I hope Pro Tour continues to use him in upcoming events.
Hope so, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know.
All right. Here's the section.
What's that?
That we get to where Nick talks to us about his gripes.
Kind of. I wasn't like overly annoyed with this event. I think there were a couple things. Minor, as always, because they're always just little critiques for me, because that's what I do. One is the drop zone location on hole 15. So hole 15 has two lines. It has a safe line to the right that stays away from the water, and it's a hyzer right hand backhand hyzer line, right? And it's tough to get an easy putt going that route, but there's a more direct line that goes over the edge of the pond water, right?
There you go.
It's small. It's not a massive water carry. It's a short hole, but the majority of the hole, if you go that left route, the end of it is water, right? So you want to land at the basket just past the water. Well, I think that I know the rule on this is if you do not clear the water, if you land OB, you go to drop zone. Now, the water distance, if you do not clear the water of where you entered OB, is, I don't know, 120 away from the basket.
Yeah, probably. Something like that.
It's not massive, 150 maybe, you know?
150 maybe, yeah, I was going to say, maybe, max.
But you get moved up to like a downhill 40-foot putt.
Yes.
I hate that. It's not, and the reason why I say this is, it's not the water carry at Maple Hill. The big hyzer over, and then you're hitting the wood chips. Like, that, there's already that, okay?
True.
With this, I feel that it's not, like, that hole is all water. Like, on this hole, sometimes you would see people just take that left route, but pitch up to the water, because it's like half the length, right?
True, yeah.
I think if you're going to go for it, and you do not clear the water, you go from where you went OB. You do not get to then. I would much rather see a throw-in, like a flick or a toss throw-in of 150 foot, than give them, which players have a very good chance at 40 feet, even 40 to 50 feet of
especially downhill,
a par. Like, you shouldn't be able to salvage a par when you, and that hole, like I said, it's under 300 feet, I believe. I think it's like 270 or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, granted, it's a tighter line, and it plays to the righty forehand or obviously lefty backhand. But, like, you either make it or you don't. You shouldn't get a way out of.
I normally,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, normally on these things, well, not even normally, but a lot of the times I have a differing opinion than you on them. But I kind of agree with you on this one. Like, the water hazard portion of it, the price for failure is doing it again until you do.
Yeah.
That's a little bit, as a spectator, that's a little bit more dynamic and fun for me to watch. Like, the stakes seem a little higher. Than just the 40-foot downhill putt, right? Like, oh, you didn't clear the water? Cool, try again.
Yeah.
You know? Oh, you biffed in the water again? Cool, try again. You know? Like, it's, you know.
And that shot
it's one of those things.
Massive either. You can run it because there's an
No.
uphill behind the basket.
Yep.
So
Yep.
even from that short side of the water, you can still run that basket and make it exciting and make, like you chose to go to the left route. It's not like I said, at Maple Hill, that's the only line, right?
Right.
At this, if you play the safe route, go right.
Mm-hmm. I think
stay away from the water.
I think as a player too, if I didn't get over the water, I'd be frustrated enough. I'd want to try it again, anyways. You know what I mean? I'm getting over the water. Like I don't know. But,
and with those 151, let's say it's even 170. That's nothing for the pros to dial in to where they're going to hit bullseye most of the time.
Yeah.
So like you chose to take that left path, there should be some risk and consequence to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But again, it's a little critique. I don't play pro, so
you'll never see me there. That's for sure.
But yeah, so it was a fun event to watch. I think with the FPO division, the FPO got to finish all 3 rounds. The MPO did not, but
weather
with that FPO, we had a not a new name, but definitely a name that stepped into the spotlight in that final round was Cadence Burge. She pushed on Holland. Holland, granted, was able to hold her off, and Holland ended up taking that victory. But Cadence had some very, very good throws, had some very strong mental game, and she showed that she is able to push for that first place. And it was good to see a new name, a quote unquote new name in the run. So
absolutely.
Again, big shout out to Holland Hanley for the win. I think also there was one thing that got posted. It was funny because I actually saw this live and I questioned it.
The foot fault?
Yeah. So if you can see a picture of it. Somebody posted it because I didn't make a post, but I saw it and I was like, that looked a little iffy. And then somebody else made the post. I'm like, okay, then it wasn't just me, right?
Right.
And in the post, it looks as though when you're setting up a shot, like a long putt, jump putt, step putt, whatever it is, straddle, it's very important which foot you place behind your marker. Because your natural jump or step might be one or the other foot, right? And depending on which foot you place behind the marker, that may not be your natural weight transfer foot.
Right.
In this instance, it looked like that was the case. It looked like she straddled, left foot behind the marker, and when she went to throw, she lifted and pushed off with her to get that energy from the left leg, and it looked like her left foot was just off the ground and that disc was slightly still in the hand or just about to be released because she was transferring her weight to her right side. This continue. Well, I can't say this continues compared to some other things, but this is still an issue when it comes to step, jump, putting.
Yeah. Yep. And here's the deal. It's in the rules, right? That is a foot fault. I understand, there's arguments about like, well, it happened so quick and it's hard to see. Like, okay, I get that. But if you see it on the card, those players should be calling that. And that's ultimately, I think, where this fault lies, right? Is the players on the card. You need to start calling this stuff. Like, it happens quite a bit. Like, it's not just, something that's running rampant and you see it just, every game even really, but it happens enough. It needs to be called. And that's on the players on the card.
And this is one of those rules that you can't just go, okay, we'll just get rid of the rule. Like, you can't go,
no.
Oh, well, it doesn't matter if your foot is down because then there's massive abuse that would go in, like jumping
oh my gosh.
full air. And then, you know what I mean? You have to have this rule, and the players have to start enforcing it. And as
Absolutely.
much as it's tough, if it's, let's say you're playing on a card with your friend, it's one of your good friends on tour.
But I think that's
it's
kind
a
of
tough
like
situation.
that is the consistent problem that we've seen with disc golf, right? At least in recent years, and probably even further back, right? Is the willingness of the card to call their card mates on faults, right? Because, I mean, let's even go back to the cupcake incident. Whose fault was that?
Yeah.
The card, right? Like, we got to start calling these things, you know? Like, I say they need to start calling these things, right? Like, I don't know. It's kind of frustrating in that respect. Like,
yeah.
Like, I understand why they don't. But at the same time, you need to, right? Because it's like I'm watching this at the professional level, right? And then there's the difference, right? Like, we've all experienced that group in disc golf, or maybe you're one of them in that group of disc golf that is the rules lawyer, you know? And we're playing a tournament for a fundraiser that has nothing to do with your PDGA score, and they're, you know, okay. Well, if I'm experiencing that during like just normal tournament play that doesn't mean anything, come on, professional level where it does mean something, this definitely needs to be called, right?
Oh yeah.
It's just this weird, I don't know.
I think it's a growing pains
that
thing.
happens.
I think it's the legitimacy of how the professionals look at the sport and their job, because this is their job.
Because of it, I almost want to go to, well, okay, fine. Then we have an official, and they call it. Now you don't have to worry about all the other things that are going into why you're not calling it. There's an official.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, then that comes, then that discussion ends up going back to, you would have to have an official for every single card.
Oh, yeah.
And right now, the sport's not there. But yes, that is, I think that is definitely the answer to it. And I think the argument of it's tough to call in real time.
Yeah.
I get that. I totally get that. But there's also times where you're like, that definitely leaned more towards I should call than not. If it leans more towards I should call, then call it.
Yeah.
Because it's a warning. You can give them a warning.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think definitely it's tough. It's tough, especially like you said, when you're playing on cards with people that you know. Everybody kind of knows each other on tour and everything like that.
Right.
And it's still, hey, as much as it's grown over the past decade massively, it's still tiny. We're still a tiny.
No, it is. It is. It is. It is. Yeah.
So that's definitely going to be a growing pain. Now I'd say the biggest newsworthy thing that came out of this was Burge shot a 14 down in the first round.
That's right. Oh, well, whose team is he on?
Oh, whatever.
Oh, my fantasy team. That's right.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah. Good on you. Good on you. And just after that first round, 6-stroke lead.
Yeah.
So now, I don't want to say this because then you start hearing people go, "Oh, Ice Age is back," because Gannon Buhr, right? Ice Age. It's his first win. This year.
Way too early for that. But I will say, as a representative of Mr. Buhr being on my team, you're damn right that Ice Age is back. Read him and weep, guys. I'm just saying. He's taking every single one from here on out. Realistically, no. It's too early to tell. It's too early to tell.
And he came out hotter last year, I think. Although AB did come out hot at the beginning of last year, and then Buhr picked it up later. So maybe this is the start of his push for the season.
Maybe.
But we won't know till
time will tell.
See it. Yeah. The other story was the weather. I think weather is starting to be a massive issue with all these events, especially obviously the earlier events. I think that we've discussed these things over and over. But I think going to the extent for the Pro Tour, much more weather investigation, like research needs to go into planning of the tour. I think they need to look more, and with the history of these events and the dates in which they're held, you're starting to get a history of something that you could read for future scheduling. And I think they need to start looking at that more, because
shift some of these events to different months.
Yeah, some of these things, man. I know it's tough, and
I mean, weather's weather.
No small feat, you know.
Weather's weather too. Like,
yeah, you can't.
But
predict
perfectly. Can always predict it, but But you can give yourself a better chance, percentage-wise, that you're not going to have inclement weather. So I mean, we've talked about it, but
But I think that's it's just tough. That's a tough thing, man. Like, and then the fact that here's a question for you: would you rather have them just cut the third round for MPO, or do you think them cutting it to 9 holes is good? Because a bunch of the field for MPO had great second half rounds, but then which would have moved them up the ladder, but then their efforts that they played in that second half were just wiped clean because the lead cards weren't able to finish. So which way would you lean on that? Would you rather them 9 holes, okay, or you know what, not everybody can play that full round, we'll just cut the full round, it was a 2-round event?
I mean, honestly, I'd probably go like they did it, and only because like the players were out there and they were playing, so it's like you cut off that whole round of play. It's like, well, why was he even there? Like it just seems like the effort doesn't get called out, right? In terms of like shifting positions, it was probably pretty minimal for the most part. I couldn't tell you without actually looking at it, obviously, at the top of my head, but I'm assuming stuff probably didn't shift too much versus that and the 9 holes. So just, cut it at the 9 holes and go, I guess, would probably be the best, just like they did.
Okay. Yeah.
Is there a better way? I don't know. That's one of those things, But the way that it did, I'm not necessarily mad at. So
For sure. Yeah. I agree. I don't see anything wrong with it. I think at that point it's just a personal opinion of what you would like, but I don't think either way would be horrible.
Nah, not at all.
Yeah,
not at all. Let's talk about some stuff, Nick.
What's that?
My God, are you still talking?
Yeah, we're still talking. We're talking about disc golf, and this is the part of the show where we get into the disc golf conversation, and we invite you to give your opinions along with us. And there's several ways that you can do that. The show at discgolfshow.com. You can do that. You can use an email, or you can leave comments down below. And we figured out that in a lot of the different platforms, especially Spotify, you can leave a comment down below that audio-only episode as well, which is pretty cool. So you can leave a comment down below on the YouTubes or on any of those platforms and share your opinion as well. What do you think? So first up, should MPO and FPO play on different courses? And I like this question. So Nick, what do you think?
And so I saw somebody mention or comment about this, and I think what they were aiming towards was for Kansas City Wide Open, had FPO played on a different course, maybe MPO would have been able to finish their rounds because the cards would have been able to start earlier. If there's a cut, which is something that the Disc Golf Pro Tour is starting to do at a lot of these events, where you have a cut line for the final round, which I think is great, then MPOs, especially for this event, would have been able to finish. And I think that I think it's tough for the tour because you then have to find a quality course for both divisions, which I don't think, as we're moving forward, there's more and more courses getting built. There's more and more good courses getting designed. So I don't think it's going to be as difficult to do so versus what it was 5 years ago. True. But I do think that just putting a female tee pad or basket placement it's the easier route, and maybe right now that's what needs to be done, because again, there's a bunch of back end stuff that goes into having to set up for the events, host the players, the spectators, all that. Like, that doubles at that point. So I think right now, as much as my answer is yes, I think FPO and MPO should be playing different courses. I feel like the FPO currently, I don't want to say it's an afterthought, because it's not an afterthought, because they do put a lot into figuring out where a basket maybe needs to be for FPO versus maybe a tee pad is a little bit shorter. There does a lot of effort does go into that. I think, though, it doesn't go in as much as the MPO division. So I don't want to take away from these events that are held and the staff that puts them together and creates these layouts and everything for each division. I personally think, yes, it does need to, but are we at the point in which it's feasible? I don't think we're there yet. I don't think that the Pro Tour can manage that yet, and I don't think they have the back end to do so. So it's a tough point. I think in 5 years from now, I think it'll get there.
I'm kind of in agreement and disagreement a little bit with you. So I think that, because here's what it runs into. If you're having them play at the same time, same course, who are you going to cover for live coverage? And I think what that does is it cuts away airtime for live from both, right? You have to make this decision on who do we cover, right? I want more coverage, and I think honestly that's kind of the way that we need to go with disc golf if we want to push it up to that next tier eventually. And like you said, that's a game plan kind of thing. We can't do that right now. Sport's not big enough, but it'll get there. So ideally, in the roadmap to the future of disc golf and the coverage and the growth of the sport as a whole, I think that both MPO and FPO need adequate and the same coverage, right? We shouldn't have to make a decision on the fly between, final card is going, but we have MPO starting. Who do you choose, right?
Yeah.
And no matter which way you choose there, you lose. That's not a decision you want to make, which is why I don't think you see this, right? And I don't think you should at all. However, I could see it done in a way in which the tour schedule is set up a little different. So maybe they do play all the same courses, but on maybe the day before or the week before, however they want to set it up, they're setting it up so that one event can happen and the other event can happen, but they're not delaying each other. Maybe they're physically at, a different course. They're playing a different course than MPO is right now, but eventually they will play it, right? Or vice versa, right? And then coverage-wise, you could get more adequate live coverage that way. But then you start running into like a time thing, right? Well, then do we extend the time frame? Because you're going to run into the problem, even if they're in different locations, of them playing at the same time, right? Which doesn't matter what course you're on at that point. The coverage will again be compromised of who do you live stream it. Do you have two live streams and then all the fans have to split their attention? That sounds like a horrible idea.
Yeah.
So I think there is a way. Do I know the best way? Absolutely not. Do we need to get there? Absolutely. And I think there's a couple of different ways that they could approach it. But what I don't want to see is that decision having to be made of who do I cover, right?
Yeah.
I would rather just stay the same way.
True.
If that's going to be the choice, just keep it the same way. One finishes, the other starts for
what about this?
Of, coverage.
Here's a proposition.
Mm-hmm.
What if, like you said, different timing, right? What if 4-day events, Wednesday to Saturday FPO, Thursday to Sunday MPO? Because you can prioritize the lead cards for FPO on Saturday as their final round, but still have coverage for MPO lead cards for MPO at that point on their third round, right? but you can dial in on the final round FPO cards on Saturday, and then you have Sunday where it's just MPO, and that's it. I think that, because it doesn't take away from FPO at that point, because right now you're doing the same thing, right? You're having both divisions on the same day. The only thing that affects is practice round. It takes one day away prior to for people to show up and have the ability to practice a round. Now, again, the argument there is, well, most pros have played these courses. Yeah, but not all, right?
Not all.
You have newer pros that are coming into the tour that have maybe need that extra day.
That does give a significant advantage to the veteran versus the newbie. So.
But that's also something that maybe that's what the newbie needs. You could say that, hey, you know what?
True.
You've got a battle. This is part of the game.
Right.
This is part of tour life,
Guess what you should be doing in your off season.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
Although that's cost prohibitive. But...
Yeah, if you're investing into your career, yeah, exactly. That's the problem. I think right now we're always coming back to that is the funding.
Yeah.
So check this out.
Bottom line, that's what it is, man. That's what it is.
I saw a video. Check this out. I saw a video of a pro golfer, and I want to say it was Bryson DeChambeau. I think, but don't quote me on that. He was stating anybody out of the top 165 golfers is losing money because they're all their own business, right?
Yeah.
They all have to set up their own, unless you have like a manager, obviously at the top, you're going to have your own people, right? But you have to pay those people, right? So if you're at the lower end, you have to set up your itinerary, you have to set up your hotels, you have to set up your transit, you have to set up everything, right?
True.
So under that, well, now scale that down to disc golf. So what, the top 30, 20 in MPO?
Yeah.
If you're under that, you're not making money. You're
true.
You're squeezing blood from a turnip. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the tough part is right now. And again, earlier, yes, it's grown exponentially over the past decade. Even over the past 5 years, it's grown. But it still doesn't have where it needs to be to support that moving forward. But I think that is something that could be done. I think maybe the Wednesday to Saturday and the Thursday to Sunday.
Yeah. Yeah.
And same thing for 3. You got Thursday to Saturday and Friday to Sunday.
I do wonder, though, if that would potentially cut a lot of viewership numbers from
Well, they would have an extra day
DGN.
of streaming.
You know what I mean?
If you think about it.
Well, yeah, but the average person that's going to work a 9 to 5 and also be able to watch, would your viewership numbers drop? Because now you've extended it across like almost the whole week into the weekend now.
Yeah, because
you're going to get more viewership.
7.
Exactly. So it's like you're compressing all that into like the very end of the week because I would say numbers would support most people have more time during that latter part of the week, with exceptions obviously, but most people probably have more time there to be able to consume the content, right? You stretch that out for the whole week, now you're limiting probably potential audience views just because of you got to work, right?
Yeah.
So
okay. So how about this? You know me, I like 4-round events, right? I think every tour stop should be a 4-round event. I don't want to propose this because I do like more rounds. What if FPO, and again, I'm not trying to take away from FPO. What if FPO is a Friday or a Thursday to Saturday, but the MPO is a Thursday to Sunday? What if FPO has 3-round events, but MPO has 4-round events? Do you think that negatively reflects on FPO?
Yeah.
That's why I said it maybe, because then you still salvage that practice day on Wednesday. You're not extending the 5 days of coverage. But again,
but then at the detriment to the players. Like,
Yeah. I don't know,
Like,
man. I think
it is a
tough.
solution. I like where your brain's at, but
I'm just trying to think of different options, because as it is now, if you look at any other sport, no other sport does the divisions together.
True.
Like no other. Okay, let me draw that back, because I'm not going to say maybe cornhole does it. You know what I mean? Like
there could be something you're not thinking about.
The sports that aren't outdoors and across a lot of space, maybe.
Yeah.
But when you're talking about outdoor sporting events, they aren't usually matched up. Usually they have two different tours, they have two different, cycles or whatever. I don't know, man. I think it's tough. I think, again, with disc golf and with most other sports, as much as people, you yell at me all you want, Nick at discgolfshow.com, is
right. Highly recommend that.
Most
it's cathartic.
Most sports that are male driven, or most sports are male driven, and most sports are supplemented a lot of times from the male divisions versus female. Now I know disc golf it's not male, it's mixed. I get that. You know what I mean though, right? Like basketball, the argument there, like WNBA is supported a lot by NBA. Like you can't argue that, and stuff like that. So there's a lot of, I don't know. It's a tough subject to try to pick apart, but I think at some point it's going to need to be.
Yeah. I'm hoping that whatever the solution is to that, if it does need one, maybe they just keep doing it the way they've been doing it.
Yeah.
Whatever, whatever.
Yeah.
But whatever happens, that there's just fair and equitable time across both.
Yeah.
Is all I'm saying.
I agree.
We're going to cut the last one in just interest of time, and let's head on to a little bit of
gear.
Oh my.
And equipment.
What did he find? He found a great deal at discgolfdealsusa.com/discgolfshow. That's what he found. 10% off. Links are down below. Use that to save yourself some money, especially when you can't support local and you need to get that thing, right?
Yep.
So we have a couple of approvals and some upcoming releases and some other products we'll talk about here at the end. But right up front, approved as of April 14th is the TFAT, the M41, the Rain from Negative, and MVP Disc Sports had 2 championship level targets recently approved by the PDGA. Looking at these 2 targets, the MVP Disc Sports had the Black Hole Portal 48 and the Black Hole Gravity 42 approved. And what's the difference, you're asking? Really, the only significant difference where we don't have a change of more than like 2% is really the chains, right? So both feature 12 inner chains, but the difference is the outer chains when we come to that. Both still championship level, which is interesting, right? And there is a little bit of variability across the board when it comes to these things. There is no standard. But in terms of championship level, you're looking towards low to high 30s, right, for your outer chains. The Portal 48 has 36 outer chains, whereas the Gravity 42 only has 30 outer chains. And that's the kind of significant difference. I will say, at least aesthetically, looking at the actual pictures of the approved targets, they kind of look cool. I like them. They have like a nice like deep grill on the front, like the black thing with like the black hole. Like it's kind of cool. I just like the design of it. Will it stay that way when it comes out to full release into production? I don't know, because sometimes that it does differ between what they're sending in for approval versus what you're going to find on the market, right? Usually, and more so with discs, everything's toned down a little bit, which is sometimes kind of funny, as we'll see coming up here. Approved on the 21st of April, Dynamic Discs had the Heist approved, and that's a stable distance driver. And a possible official release at GBO later this year. Ooh, very cool. The Gateway Disc Sports had the Witch Doctor approved here recently. And then Delta Mold LLC had the yellow disc approved. And this is kind of referring to my comment earlier. The disc they sent was white, but it's called the yellow disc. What?
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyways, I just found it kind of funny.
That's all about.
Right? Yeah, you're like, huh? All right. Maybe they did that on purpose because they thought it was funny as well. Shaman Disc Golf had the Fuego, which is also not fiery red. I think it's like black in their picture of the one that they sent in for approval, which I also found kind of funny as well. For the upcoming releases or recent releases, available right now as we speak. Go now, right after I say it. Go get one if you want, I guess. OTB Champions Cup discs are available. So hey, there you go. Go snag yourself one if you're interested. And then coming soon, 2 products with videos of them releasing, which were both interesting in their own way. But the first one I think steals the show by far is the Westside Tide announcement by Westside. I'll just say if you like ducks, go watch it. It's a good announcement video.
On that disc, I believe it's going to be a Matty O signature.
Yeah.
Is roll Tide.
Roll Tide. Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense.
Yeah.
But if you like ducks or Matty O, I guess, go check that one out. And then Kastaplast announced a new line of plastic. They're grind plastic, and they have a little thing. It'll be in the links down below of their announcement of their new line of plastic. And I have to say, a lot of those designs that were on there, I'm like, ooh, it just looks nice. So I kind of want to like get my hands on one just because it looks cool, right? Which, I mean, hey, marketing, right? I mean, that's a thing. So
exactly.
But they got me. I mean, honestly, you could say like, oh yeah, there's a disc called the disc, and I'd be like, oh yeah, let's get it. But that's just me. Other products that are available in the market, just so that you're aware, Vessi shoes has a disc golf line, and the benefit of that waterproofness, hands down, I will recommend them. Have a pair myself. We have an affiliate link to them. I'm not going to say it out to you because it's like gobbledygook, but in the links down below, you'll find that there to save yourself a little bit of money on that affiliate link there too. And hey, stoke up some interest in the disc golf show. Just saying, two stones, one bird. That's not how you say that. Moving on.
KEN versus
Disc golf.
Okay, Ken, go ahead.
Yeah, go for it.
Oh, he's not here today, but that's okay. Congratulations, by the way, on that new job.
Yeah.
So,
we'll see
there.
We'll see how.
Right. You do have to tell your new job about priorities. Right.
I mean,
so
yeah.
I mean, just saying.
Come on.
Just saying. But overall.
Bravo.
Congratulations.
Bravo.
On the new job.
One of the things that Ken does like to comment on are the rankings, current world rankings. He usually goes to Statmando. I have recently just checked the PDGA world rankings as well as the Statmando official rankings. I know we touched on them last show, so 2 weeks have gone by. Hasn't been much movement, to be honest with you. I think the only thing that changed for FPO, it was the same. You had Latt, Salonen, Handley, Scoggins, and Gannon. Those are the top 5. The only change with MPO from the 26th to the 9th, because they do their rankings updates, I believe, on Wednesday. So tomorrow, I think it might bump from Kansas City Wide Open. Yeah. Was Buhr Wysocki, Robinson, Heimberg switched. So Isaac Robinson bumped up to 3rd, Heimberg 4th, and Antala is 5th. So that was the PDGA world rankings. Now, Statmando's official rankings are completely different. However, they decide how to do those, do the back end on that, the logarithm, or is different, definitely different than PDGA. So with FPO, you saw a switch mainly because Kristen did go back home, so she did not play in Kansas City Wide Open, and this one was actually updated today. So these are fresh rankings from Statmando. So because Latt went back home, you had Handley bump up because of her win. Latt goes to 2nd. Ella jumps up into 3rd out of nowhere. Well, not nowhere. We know she's a bomber, and she that's a good course for her, right?
Right.
and then Saarinen. So Silva jumps up again into the top 5, and then Scoggins drops from 4th to 5th. That was kind of the moves for FPO. MPO, on the other hand, there was definitely movement. So Buhr stayed in the lead because he won. Now I don't know why Buhr was in first place last episode, because he hadn't won an event. I mean, maybe he was top 10s, maybe, and that's what constituted the placement.
Right.
But either way, Buhr, you stay in first. Antila bumped up to second from third. Hammis, Adam jumped into third from below the pack. Ezra Robinson on this one. So Isaac's not in this one from Statmando, but Ezra is. Ezra moves from 5th to 4th. And guess who we see in 5th place? McBeth. So McBeth has been, and we've talked about this, lead cards every event basically. He's not finishing out, but he's right there.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and that's one thing. He said he's concentrating up more this year of being right up there.
Yep.
And he's putting his money where his mouth is. Yeah, I think it's just a matter of time before he's going to take one here.
I think so.
Real soon.
I think so. What would be really cool, though, seeing as how you didn't win any last year, is if you won a major this year.
That would be awesome.
That'd
be
wicked.
Awesome.
But it's good to see his name back in the mix, especially among the rankings.
Absolutely.
We know he's dialed. He's dialed, but not where he used to be. He's like, I'd say he's like 90% dialed.
Okay.
He's still got some improvement that he needs to do.
He's still got a little bit of Irish spring on him.
Yeah.
It's not completely, covered with the dial. Got it.
Reason why I say I think he's dialed, though, is he had several McBeth putts, like circle 2, edge of circle 2 from the bushes that he was salvaging. Like, it was like he just had some amazing putts. So I think the way he's been playing, I think he's definitely going to get a win this year. If he does not, I don't know. Maybe there should be some sort of something that needs to happen to me or something if he doesn't get a win this year. I think he's going to get a win this year, period. Hopefully it is a major, but we will see. Now, before we move on to the next section, as always, we want to highlight the upcoming events. We definitely want to touch on this upcoming month, May 17th to 25th. That 2025 Women's Disc Golf Week is happening, so there's a bunch of events. So if you want to support that, go check out an event near you, May 17th through 25th, Women's Disc Golf Week. And then our friends up north, September 12th to 14th, later this year, nearing the end of the season, Canadian Championships Disc Golf Pro Tour Q Series event in Port Hope, Ontario. Now, the one that I'm really excited for, because we are going to have an off week this next weekend, no events, right? We have the Go Throw is going to have a what is their event that they do? The skins match, I believe, prior to May 1st to 4th, 2025 PDGA Champions Cup Major, Stockton, California. So I'm hoping that we can go to one of those days at least, and maybe get some on-course in-person content. And that way we can have more in-depth opinions and commentary on it. But it's major. Last major we had was the USW DGC, which was 2021. So that's kind of cool that the Champions Cup is going to be out here. And I'm looking forward to making my way out there and making my way downtown.
As they say. Another couple quick shout-outs before we move on to one. Congratulations, Roger, for taking it this week in the fantasy, as much as we don't like to say, because it's not one of us. But congratulations.
That's right.
Real turnaround from last year.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Real turnaround from last year. So it's good to see.
Yeah.
Good to see some new faces up there at the top. As long as it's not Nick's.
Yeah, whatever.
Also, one other quick shout-out. Maybe you're looking for some coaching, right? You really need to improve that backhand stroke. Or maybe you're working on a forehand. Or you need some tips on putting. Look no further than our very own Ken. And you can head on over to his website at putt.wixsite.com/kenuput. So check out that website if you would, if you'd like to pick yourself up some amazing and affordable coaching from our very own Ken. Moving on as soon as I find the button. There it is. Or not? It just doesn't want to...
No?
Technical difficulties? It
Perfect.
Just said no? I was like, nah, I don't think you guys need to do that section today. I just don't, you know? Wow, yeah,
It's okay.
Well, we move on without it. Mailbag! There you go. That's what we're doing right now, because it won't play for some reason. That's weird. This is the section where if we have some emails that we'd like to share with you all that have been sent to us that haven't been just, Nick, you suck, although those are tempting to share as well.
Yeah.
At nick@discgolfshow.com. This is where we also kind of review a couple products maybe that we throw in there and tell you some other community stuff that's out there in the ether that maybe you should check out as well. So I'm going to let Nick take it away on this one.
All right. First thing is a product review. Just because I actually got in contact with them, we're dealing with them for our new course, our new club, Roseville Disc Golf Club. We're talking with them about this. If you need a towel for your local event or course, contact Grumpy Goat Disc Golf. GrumpyGoatDiscGolf.com. They specialize in towels. They have mugs and things like that, but they specialize in towels. And they're the type of towels where they can actually they end up putting your course map on there, so they can do custom towels. You can also buy towels. I think they have one from Waco and stuff like that. They have ones that you can purchase from events, right? But if you do want to have yours, they have different sizes. They vary. If they are the custom ones, they vary from $10 to $15 a piece, and that depends on size and quantity that you order. So I think the smaller ones are like 10 to 13 or 12, and the bigger ones are 13 to 15 or something like that, 12 to 15. But go check them out, grumpygoatdiscgolf.com. And they also, like I said, the ones that are already pre-made, I think they're around $22 to $26 retail for those like Waco style. If you really love that course and they happen to have it, pick one up from them. But yeah, they're great. They're good with their customer service, very accessible, get back to you timely. And go check them out. Again, grumpygoatdiscgolf.com for your disc golf towel needs. Outside of that, we have I watch a lot of YouTube, disc golf related YouTube.
No.
Like 95% of my channels are probably that. One person, I think we commented on it last time. Yes, you always go check out Simon and everything. I would suggest going and checking Silas Shultz's YouTube out. Reason being is because he's not that top 10 player, right? Simon is super enjoyable to watch. He's at that level where he's flying in. It's the contract has done him well. But I think on another end, on a end closer to that, like we were discussing earlier about the people that are just grinding and on tour and driving from location to location, Silas Shultz gives you that perspective, and his editing is amazing. So go check him out. Again, just look up Silas Shultz on YouTube, and you should be able to find his YouTube channel. We have his most recent YouTube link will be up in the comments down below, and you can check him out and support him because he's got
lots of really cool stuff on there. He's got like slow-mos of his drives. He's got video of like his field work and just other stuff that's just it's interesting to watch. So highly recommend it.
He does some vlogging. He does some he does a lot of different. Like I said, his editing, top tier editing.
Absolutely. So what you're saying is, teach me. If you're in the market for a new disc golf bag, look no further than Upper Park Disc Golf and use the code while you're there, Disc Golf Show, to get yourself 15% off your entire purchase. If you're going to pick up one of those bags, that's an investment, and you might as well save some money while you do it. Why not, right? Also, I don't know if we've said this enough, but you could go to discgolfdealsusa.com. No, we haven't said it enough. /discgolfshow and save yourself 10% off that entire purchase there. Remember, this episode was also brought to you in part by Final Nine Sports with their 2 locations, one in Orangevale, one in Rocklin. Support local, and if you can't, use that Disc Golf Deals USA and save yourself some money there. I think that does it for the show, Nick.
Yep.
So until next time, that's it. Bye. Get out of here. I'm just kidding. In disc golf, as in life, aim high and let it fly. I'm not going to leave you hanging. See ya.